no why góor bi dafa war a jël opération pour gars yi nekk benn no soo ne góor ak góor benn lañ but 6 and 9 cannot be the same. You cannot go to a shop and buy something that is costing $9. You cannot, if you come with $6, so many 6 and half a dozen, then I understand, fine. But the other thing mooy ne soo waxee ne tamit ne man ak moom the same gis nga sooy dugga ci dara you come with the belief
Yep.
ne kii lañ yaakaar ne mun na moo def lii right waaye soo nekkee si foofu na tamit yow
Yep.
da nga owe the public an obligation to make sure ne li nga waxoon gars yi am na parce que man like I said man maa doon ngóor di wax and those were what man defaruma woon manifesto bi individually it was collectively done loolu laa gëmoon loolu moo nekkoon si table bi so su fekkee ne dem naa ma wax nit yi ne lii la ba pare ma dugga ma gis ne loolu nekkul di nekk loo xam ne ñu ngi koo jox askan bi I think I have a right to tell the person ne man de dama foog ne lii nekkul di dox they'll tell you man dama dee toog si meeting ma ko ma ne ko président man dama foog ne tukki bii nii daal nga bàyyi nii man I'm like that am na yeneen yoo xam ne personally I do that man naturally noonu laa mel I speak my mind so su fekkee ne dem naa ma gis ne lii lañ dig nit yi and loolu nekkul di xew foog naa ne man war naa seetaat ma dellu gannaaw so if su ko nit yi di gisee noonu then they are making a big mistake because foog ngeen dugga mun ngeen a bokka team nga dem nga gis ne team bi nekkul di doxee nii nga génna loolu which is very normal so you don't have to say ne 6 and 9 lañ foofu la nekkoon so they're all the same no man maa ngi woon si meeting some of the things we discussed I cannot mention here waaye suñ demee si meeting if you look at the records most times dama dee wax ne I want to be on record ne waxoon naa lii man dama dee express my opinion ne waxoon naa lii so I am there to see if I can convince other people. You'll have a few people who will side with me, and the majority carries the vote. But you cannot say, nyop nyung fa. So
No,
I think that
absolutely right. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Definitely. But obviously,
I think I should be credited for being bold enough. I think I should be
No, you
credited
are
for
bold
being
enough.
bold enough.
You are bold enough because you don't run away from interviews. I have to give you that credit. You are one person that will answer to any media call. When people ask questions, you come out and clear yourself to the best of your knowledge. So we have to give you credit for that. Not many leaders within our society that will do that on a daily basis. People will only go out on the media.
If you're not accountable to the people, nit yi dañ la baye li nga amé and it will not go. So gisee football bi doxut ci Gambia bi because of you need the media to be able to sell your agenda. So media bi ñoo mëna jaay sa agenda. I'm not asking them to do a PR, but at least you go there time to time nga inform askan bi ñu xam lan moy sa problème. Soy njit askan ñom xamuñ ban yoon ngay jublu den dafa difficult pour nga mëna liggéey ak ñom. Football stakeholders yi the general public dañ war a mun a xam GFF lii mooy seen vision soo laajoon GFF tey lan mooy seen vision xamuñ ko they don't know and if you don't have a vision da ngaa nekk di wander around rek di xool ni nga wiiree ñëwaat fii nii xool wiiree ni ñëwaat but dañ la war a mun a wax ne fii lañ bugg a dem lii lañ bugg a def and they are not telling you that they are doing all the same things they were doing all the time and they cannot get different results so man dama feel ne if you want to be in public office you have to be accountable to the people so they can understand you and they can better relate. Yeneen dëkk yi ñu ngi jaay merchandise ñu ngi jaay jazzy Gambia da nga struggle sa pour ut jazzy foo ko amee loolu moo laa jox xaalis so if you're not accountable to the people or nit yi suñu waxee sa social media yi nga leen di block they leave you with whatever you have so leen laajee donation time mu ñu doon wax ne NCC bi ñu ne condamné nit yi duñ ko dee gisee as NCC sax GFF lañ ko dee gisee non ñi duñ leen jox dara su fekkee ne yow nga ne 616 millions dafa dem fee na ñëwal nga wax nit yi ne fii la dem nga génnee sa book si nga wal leen yépp nit yi ñu gis ko they will understand but if you feel you're not accountable to the people which even some of the clubs are struggling with because seen community bi ak yooyu noonu duñ leen dee wax si lan lañ nekka so dañu ne ñii bàyyi leen ko waaye nawetaan teams yi dañoo ñëw ñu woon koñ bi yëpp ne kii jox nañu lii lañ am fii lañ toll moo tax nit yi di leen dee toppa so su fédération bi buggee loolu you have to be accountable to the masses the stakeholders. Community and fan engagement is the next big thing in football now. So if you're not accountable to the people, getting to the media and talking to them, you have a problem.
Yeah, definitely. You must be willing to listen to the people that you serve. But, Saribu, you said you were part of the finance committee of the federation, right? Yes or no?
Yes, I was, yes, as vice chairman.
For how long, in total, how long did you work with Team Kaba before resigning?
As an executive member, I was there from 2018 to 2022 when I left. I wouldn't have resigned because for me resigning doesn't solve the problem. Because I remember
But
there was a time.
if it is against your ethics, you should be able to resign. And
No, that
if
is
you
if
don't
I
agree
will
with
only
them,
resign if su fekkee ne dama def a gross misconduct or dama def loo xam ne it's unacceptable. But as the day I was a watchdog, man noonu laa ko gisee. I was in the finance committee before because su doon dama fa nekkoon ma misappropriate funds, God forbid, or ma def loo xam ne is inappropriate, hey, na ñu accuse me of
no,
something.
not you per se. But yes, you did mention. Okay, yeah, you mentioned like 616 million. I'm not saying you are part of that committee, right? But Lumaneka do more neka. Yeah, you because you is Sadibu Kamaso. They are going to say as the campaign manager for Team Kaba has sold
Well,
Kaba's manifesto to us. If Sadibu
yeah.
is there and saying that Kaba is not doing right, then Sadibu should have, I believe, Sadibu should have resigned rather than waiting until after 4 years. If
No,
it
but
doesn't take the first year around,
I,
second year, the third year you should leave.
No, I've saved the country some money because there are times the man finance committee and my decision comes suma contribution to meeting be changes certain decisions that were to be made. When we came from AFCON in 2021, like I said, the CAF bonus money that came, it was agreed in a meeting ne executive with share kuneka am to $2,000. When I came to that meeting, they didn't share the money. Stuff like that. Am na yenn times yoo xam ne dinañ wax ne lii la and I come to a meeting ma ne non man I feel ne nii la war a demee and most half of the time da ngaa dégg xëy na président dina email ne according to Sadibou I believe we should go with nii. Waaye nga ñëw fa rek nga resign loolu moo taxoon we face a lot of things because you resign based on ne da nga def a misconduct or something but you don't resign because something is not somebody has to be su nekkee benn nit la sax somebody has to be there to understand the system somebody has to be there to raise the red flags. If there's nobody there who raises the red flags or there's nobody there who's speaking up, then you have more problems. Man, I was there. So ma gisee loo xam ne am na things yoo xam ne daan ñëw finance committee man la ne man kenn lii duma ko approve. There were certain requests that were coming yéeg na kenn ne waaw damaa laajte allowance lii and I you know one or two times when Hidna, the chairman would recuse himself from the finance committee because finance committee actually doesn't decide. We recommend. Something came up and he said, okay, the recuse my because of Lee, and I chaired, and then man mad throw ko out, mune hey sari buhara ma jëlaat suma place because of man ni ma ko gisee. So those are areas yoo xam ne I was able to actually save some money. So suma resign on at that time, it would have even been worse. Man, the reason lu taxoon ma resign rek mooy ne there were people that were associated with me and ñu don't lose seen positions xëj na ñu ngi see feed seen family or ñu ngi def dara kenn ñu gis rek nga jege ma xam nga te xëj na man mënuma laa feed so suñ la gisee nga jege ma rek ah ok kii moo dee feed Sadibou information nañ fàtte ne man I was a member of the emergency committee waa ji member boo xam ne ñun five everything loo xam ne mu ngi doon ñëw si fédération bi everything from CAF or FIFA ñun five lañ ko dee seen so suma bëggoon a nekk another person I'll come and talk about things yoo xam ne understand nga they very sensitive in nature but jaru ko but yooyu noonu yeneen daf dee xew sa anal seene man daal lii laa si gis and that day mun a xëy na live in mind ni keneen ne waaw dëgg la why don't we do this so resigning for me dama gëm ne the only time bu ma resigné mooy su fekkee dama def loo xam ne méngoowut a lii waaye su ma fa nekkee di mun a change mind or di contribute I've contributed a lot whilst I was there.
But the
Su dee lu tuuti la
majority carries the vote. If you are there and in every committee, if the majority have to decide, then that means they're gonna overrule your decision.
but like I said there are times too yoo xam ne sa contribution bi laal na may ni jàmbur the first time when president won I was in the finance committee wax naa la ne boobu bu nekkee si finance committee I was not chairperson I was not vice chairperson I resigned because of a lot of things yoo xam ne maa ngi ko doon gis yoo xam ne xam nga comfortable ma si seen recommendations yi it didn't change anything so when I came back and the promise was ne loolu lii dafa change du amaat and obviously da nga dee mën a jox nit chance when I came back ma gis ne yooyu mu ngi fa I had to say oh no we cannot continue like this somebody has to stand up why are we not having more candidates because da ngaa taxaw sa ñeneen dañ naan non koto yi dañ laa lifin nii koto yi dañoo def lii ak yooyu noonu no resigning is not the solution somebody has to be there to call the shots to raise the red flags and then xam nga pull yena yi. So for me, I don't think, and like I said, the first retreat that the GFF ever organized, man mako, a pioneer, man mako push. We started a retreat boham the staffy and the exco would meet and then we would discuss issues. Pour ñu mëna am ku nekk sa role fan la toll ak yoy nonu. There are things that I have contributed whilst I was there. So lum bon being there, net and resign. No, you go to a meeting, those things are not for public consumption. You will see minutes in a so they will be there for posterity. Man,
No, sure. We have a lot to talk about. No, I can let them. Yes. Yeah, Badara Muginga what Uncle Bob.
Okay, yeah, man. I'll just have to come back to the question marks. If you work in a particular system, especially a critical position like finance, it's not working because at the end of the day, Lunde Joey or
point
Lunde
of correction,
has
I
a
wasn't working there. Point of correction, I wasn't working there. I was in a
okay,
committee. Yeah.
okay. You were in a committee. In what capacity?
The committees
Were you,
basically
were you doing
advise
both?
the executive. You go there when there's an issue or subject that you have to discuss. You go there, you talk about it when there's a budget. You ngeen toog ngeen recommend ne lii lañ war a spend fii lii lañ war a spend fële ne le and tant sax yàlla def na sax yaa ngi wax loolu. I was the one that even pushed pour time boobu noonu ñu release price money bi mu dem 750 because ci benn si meeting si finance committee bi man maa recommend and that came from the finance committee and it went to the executive and they approved. So I wasn't working. Dañoo dem su meeting amee ñu dem meet 1 hour or 30 minutes ñu jëm then the minutes are sent to the executive. Executive will decide or otherwise. So I was not a staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why still you serve as an advisor in a system
Yes,
that,
in the
that you
finance
believe in?
committee. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, system that you believe in. No,
Yes.
it was going to
Believe.
work.
Yes. Yes.
You believe in that it was going to work.
Yes.
And then let them feel okay, it's not working the way you want it to work.
Yeah.
You out. Just suma anything wrong, like, just let me know.
Sumalane.
Man, suma anything wrong whilst I am trying to quote you, like, you stop me.
No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, yeah. It's fine.
Okay.
Go on.
So what I'm saying is you work in a system that you believe it was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You offer your services, you get to a point you feel it's not working the way you want it. You step
Mm-hmm.
out. The same
Yes.
system come for you again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you accept it again.
Yes.
I think that's the first question mark that every person will want to come up with. Su nekkee dem na ba feel ne okay system bi maa ngi fi woon nekku di dox lu tax ma war faa
Mm-hmm.
demaat and you go back with a plan
Mm-hmm.
and then you go out to the people and sell the plan to them
Mm-hmm.
with your committee. And
Okay.
it's the
Mota
same
Manela,
you that
you.
sold the plan to us. The
Mota
same you that
Manela,
sold the plan.
maybe. Mota Manela, maybe you are. Yange Hawa Jahase Aferine. When you say you work in a system, when you serve an advisor in a committee, your advices or whatever decisions you take ne lolu ngeen expect ne lolu la ñu jël you send to the
No,
executive.
no, this is the system I am trying to explain is being a member
Wow.
of the GFF, right? Loolu moo
Wow.
nekk system bi, not basically the finance aspect.
Wow.
Comme being a member of Team Kaba rek loolu moo nekk system bi. That's the system I'm talking about. Being a member of Team Kaba.
Wow.
But that's the system I am talking about. Not basically serving as a financial lead. Because you were in Team Kaba, you step out
Yeah.
again, come back to Team Kaba
Mm-hmm.
as a campaign manager, go out, sell Kaba's plan and policies to the people. You
Mm-hmm.
work with Kaba for 4 to 5 years and come out and
4 years.
say the system is still not working.
Yes.
So how come is that really not raise a lot of question mark as to why people didn't vote for you?
Can I ask you a question? How would I have known properly that the system is not working if I was not there? Because right now, a lot of times, most of these media houses, then they make allegations or dañoo ñëw ne waaw lii la amuñ facts yi. Man, I have facts. So Mategon, when I went to Hell, I went with a box. I have a box full of evidence. But he who alleges must prove. If I am not in there, how am I supposed to understand how things work? Like I said, I went there first time. I realized things, the advices we give are not being adhered to. I left. When they came again and said, okay, these were the lapses, which is normal for every human being, they were lapses. It was just one time. You feel, okay, their promises lead in a doh. You believe, okay, fine, they said they were lapses, lila no def. You go in again. And whilst you were there, you see most of the advices that were being given, that is the reason why I even came out to say I am going to contest.
But
Because
Mr.
happened
Sadiq,
overnight.
second time.
No, degluma,
Sorry.
degluma, degluma, degluma.
Uncle Bob,
You
make a
don't, you
mutane.
don't, if I am not there, I will not be privy to a lot of info.
Okay.
Yes, I will not be privy to a
What?
lot of info. If you want to
Okay.
run
What
it,
I'm
you have to be in there to be able to understand how they deal with CAF, how do they deal with FIFA. From the outside, it's difficult. Gis nga, in any political landscape, lo doonu talibem, do doon serignam. You've got to learn the job and get in the system to be able to understand how it is done. So I feel, man, I was there learning. And when I was there, a lot of times, a consultant comes or somebody comes, "Sorry, we demal nga draftly. Sorry, we demal nga defle nele. Sorry, we demal nga defle ni." Those things were building me. And thanks to those times that I've spent there, I'm able to come and talk to you and explain a lot of things that people can understand and grasp. Suma gina ton, suma understanding of issues at the federation is up there compared to somebody ko hamne musut fa ligay. So it's the experience and being able to raise the red flag and understanding some of these other issues. So that was the reason why I was there.
okay, Mr. Sadiq.
Yes.
Sorry for this, but I don't
Mhm.
think the second time you were there to learn, because you were the very one that was leading a campaign that was selling out programs and policies of the GFF. Because if you're going to learn, so put plus, you don't expect to be a flag bearer, because now people you're learning, you have to be below people, and then people lead you to the way. But you
But I
were the
wasn't a
very one
flag bearer. I
that
wasn't a
lead the
flag
campaign.
bearer.
No, no,
I
I
No,
wasn't
mean
a
he had
leading
the
the
flag
campaign
bearer.
campaign. Leading
manager.
the campaign.
Yes, flag bearer and campaign manager are not the
No,
same.
he made a
Campaign
mistake.
manager,
He meant campaign manager. He meant the
I
campaign
understand
manager.
that. I understand that, Mr. Sadibu.
yes.
And
No, but
and
get
I
your
also
question
think you
correctly so I can answer you correctly. You understand that, but you address me as a flag bearer. And like I said, the first time I was the finance committee member. I was not sitting in the executive. But the second time, I was sitting in the executive where decisions are made. At the first time, Bumanekon Finance Committee, Dumadan Hamsa, what is even discussed at the executive level. So Mota Manela, to serve in the executive and to serve in the finance committee are two different things. There are people who serve in these committees, they probably never even met. So I was in a finance committee, and being in the executive committee are two different things.
but what I am saying is, if you were in the learning stage, how would they trust you with the capacity to lead the campaign and go out and sell out this policy? How do you know about these things if you were in the learning? That because
Campaigning
to
and
me you
serving
were
as the
not learning.
flag bearer are two different things. As a
No,
campaign
no, no.
manager,
Okay,
you're
we're not
giving
talking about flag
policies.
bearer now.
Wow. No, you
We're not
said
talking
if
about
I
flag
was
bearer
at the
now. We're
learning
talking about
stage,
campaign.
you said if I was at the learning stage, how will people
Yeah,
trust me to be able to give me that? I think
yeah.
after
That
three, four
campaign
years,
manager.
I was able to learn a lot. 3, 4 years more for time bubula janga. The first time, Motamanela Yange mix up affair. When I was in the finance committee,
No,
I was
sorry,
not a
Harama.
policy maker.
Sorry,
Now, when
Balama.
I
Take
finished,
now, Uncle Babu made a mistake. What he meant was,
yeah,
Babu, and I stand to be corrected. Yes,
mm-hmm.
you left when you left the finance committee, but you
Yes,
took up the responsibility as
yeah,
Sadibu Kamaso to go
mm-hmm.
and lead Kim Kaba as the campaign manager to go and
Yes,
send an agenda whereby
mm-hmm.
you've decided that Sadibu Kamaso, I don't feel like I can work with these people as part of the finance committee. And then you took up the responsibility on your shoulders to go and lead a campaign for Kaba to be elected. So now this is what Babu meant. So why should
Thank
people
you.
trust you, or why will you want to take up such a responsibility?
Thank you very
Babu,
much. Mota nak maneko mota mabuga ma simplify ko mu degluma properly. At the finance committee, you make recommendations, you send it to the executive to decide. The GFF is structured in such a way you have the General Assembly, you have the executive committee where the policy decisions are made. And under the executive committee, you have the finance, marketing, organizing, competitions, whatever committees. You have all those committees. You don't sit in the executive when you are in a when you are in these subcommittees. Now, when I was in the finance committee, ñun dañ dee def suñu recommendations. Okay, I had issues there with individuals. See, finance committee, it wasn't the executive I had that issue with. Because when you're in the finance committee, decisions are made. There were people. There was Tajalo, there was Bakari Jame, there was myself, there was Pasamba, and few other people. It was at the finance committee level. For xam ne yéen foofu ngeen dee meeting ne ngeen def lii. And most of the time dang dee gis ne soo waxee lii leneen la dee demee soo waxee lii leneen la dee demee. Finance level la emoon nekkuma woon si executive bi. They are two different things. See, executive bila neka in the second time. Second time, I came in the executive, not the finance committee. Finance B is a subcommittee. And when I came in the executive, we sat down as a group and mapped out all the different lapses that we had. Okay, these were lapses of good judgment. These are errors. These are mistakes. Let us rectify them. And then we came out with a manifesto. When we did the manifesto together, I was appointed as campaign manager now, not the finance committee. Finance is sub. So I was campaign manager for the team now. And when we won now, I was in the executive where I was part of the emergency where I make decisions, not just recommendations. So when I was at the decision-making table, that was when I realized a lot of things. Popular gena jange, people understand some of the issues we discussed there, hejna agud fee or li at least. That's where you see all the different components. Lola la wani. Buma neke fofu nak, I had a better understanding of issues, and I realized the li nekut on the door. The problem was not just at the finance committee, but the problem is here. Because legi, amna yena issues yo hamne mungi def na organizing committee, people are not satisfied, they appeal. Because hej na dohut fini. Or amna issues yo hamne finance la, they're not satisfied, lene hew. But when I was at the executive level, I understand the lila, where I raised the red flags, that's where I decided, okay, legi, Lee mun nañoo doing things and we go this direction. And there were people who agreed with me and said, we believe you are the one who should be able to do this. But even at finance committee at the time, I can assure you, I wasn't even fit to stand for the position of president because of my understanding of issues. Parce que ega to policy making decision level. So much on position be time bobu nono. I believe I'll make so many errors or so many mistakes because of my modicum understanding. But at executive level, I can assure you suma understanding fofu la gena lere, suma ham fofu la si gena yoko, puma fo hamne fofu la ame gum bine li mun na ko ron.
In short, if you don't work for the government, you don't work for the GFF and understand the system, you cannot serve
Sorry?
as a president.
In short, you cannot? It's a line don't break.
Okay, I'm saying if you don't work for the GFF and understand the system that is there, you cannot serve as a president.
No, I'm not saying that.
Uncle Bao,
I never made that assumption. What I'm
No, no,
saying
no.
is you get to understand issues, yes. You get to understand issues. Man, at the time I was in the finance committee, I can assure you 2014 to 2018, I wouldn't have been able to run it as it would be because understand my policies, diluma at CAF, diluma at FIFA. I have not had any issues dealing with CAS because whilst I was there, we had issues to appeal to CAS, Court of Arbitration for Sports, and all those things. Man, couldn't get some of the issues were coming to our table for us to make decisions. I'm one that understanding. I'm not saying if you're not there, you cannot, but you will have a lot of challenges.
Badara, Chama.
Boy Chama, man dama yaga harde.
Okay, I think I've said this before in another interview. Mane, the true challenge in Gambian football perhaps extends beyond constructing stadiums or enhancing facilities. because dafa involve cultivating a culture that values sports from the grassroots level. Si dëkk bi fii nii sports is not valued at the grassroots level. Why I am saying that is soo xoolee the football pyramid da nga am the league, that's the federation, first division league, nga am the second division boo xam ne federation baa ko ron. You have the third divisions that are all under regional football associations. So by hell FIFA ñoo dee determine the size of a pitch, the size of a ball, the minutes you play, the kind of the kind of cards you give, what the referees do, and all of that. If you do anything outside of that, you are running something that is different from football, because FIFA is the apex body. In the Gambia too, the Gambia Football Federation is the apex body, because dafa war a mun a make sure ne everything from the grassroots dafa war a correct. So ñun dañ gëm ne a lot of things are not going right at the level of the grassroots, because soo xoolee most of the regional football associations yoo xam ne academy foofu la ñoo register. To register even an academy, sometimes you face a lot of challenges. One. Secondly, third division leagues, if you look at some of their rules and regulations, they are miles ahead from what the GFF has. So ñooñu su ñoo grow ak loolu noonu, they come with something different from li nekk ci fédération bi. The attention that is being given to the top league is not given to the grassroots. So it is beyond building facilities or enhancing them. Under 15, under 20, under 17, yooyu noonu. When was the last time a tournament is organized that is big? Because summer bi xam nañ ne nawetaan time la. Why is the GFF working in silo and the nawetaan centers are working in silo? What is stopping the federation from creating a pathway between the nawetaan centers for them to be under the RFAs directly? Who knows? Nawetaan centers, we should turn them into a tournament boo xam ne is going to be for under 15s or under 13s or under 17. Them na Serekunda is, and I saw them running things like that. For us, we believe there should be an ecosystem boo xam ne dafa continue, where tournaments dafa am fofu nonu xale yi di grow, ñuy understand how these games are played. From there, the federation is able to select young individuals yoo xam ne they can calm them for summer. Ay colony de vacances day am every summer nga pick that team or 30 or 60 nga yóbbu leen xëj na ñuy dem di play ak yooyu noonu. They get to build that. And then you make sure the people who train them, that is the coaches, are well capacitated. They know what they are doing. They're able to deal with kids. Not because am academy hale rek munga ko jox hale. No. They should be in a position to be able to deal with these kids, whether it's emotional issues or psychological issues. Pull handle ko. Do we have emotional intelligence coaches? No. Do we have people who will deal with nutrition? No. Do we have medical personnel? No, they understand how to deal with these issues? No. Do we have people who counsel these young players? No. So for us to get it right at that level, Nawetan Centers should all be directly affiliated to the regional football associations. Meet the Nawetan Centers and tell them that moving forward, yena war di run under 15 and under 13 or even under 17. There will be a pathway where from Fofunonu players will graduate. Whatever the leagues they are doing, they can graduate. Because young RFA, then you a qualification teams play living nga train 3-4 months nga ñu door la ben game rek nga dem nga tok. Lolu dafa discourage nit. Why if there is a tournament bo xamne hejna do ñëw rek nga play qualifiers nga dem, you go through a process. There's something there bo xamne lolu moy encourage guy. Then you build the capacities. Then people who are handling those things understand. When was the last time there was an administrative course? An administrative course was run here, even the coaching courses. So ñun dañ foog ne you have to create an atmosphere boo xam ne they are am pathway. Am tournaments yoo xam ne xale yi foofu la ñoo play. Then academies yoo xam ne xale yi foofu la ñoo nekk, they all properly registered. I'm sure I know the RFAs are doing good jobs in area di register guy, but there is a lot left to be desired. So academies yi war nañoo mun a am loo xam ne dañ leen a register ñu regulate leen in such a way boo xam ne xale yi yëpp they'll get into a system boo xam ne seen date of birth, seen detail, everything is captured and is there. From that age they are followed. There's a platform that you can follow these kids. Lolo is one. The league itself, So xale yi mu nee egg bañ àgga foofu noonu league bi for it to run proper, the federation should be able to create a league management body so the federation can focus on development. Teams yi ñooy ñëw ñoom ñu ron ko but xëy na ñoom ñu ngi xalaat ne su fekkee ne teams yi ñoo ron seen own league xëy na gars yi dinañ gang up against us. No, the president of the federation has a seat there because man demoon naa def training on the professional league. They started amateur, semi-professional until they became professional, but that was registered as a business. So you have to have an ecosystem boo xam ne academies yi are well structured, they registered, xale yaa ngi am training, yaa ngi select foofu noonu xale yoo xam ne ñooñu ñoo jël ñu nekk the best team and eventually ñu grow, then ñuy climb the ladder and then nga am league boo xam ne is sustainable pour players yuy play foofu noonu dinañ xam ne fii balaa maa dem backway mun naa fee play di fi am tuuti salary di mun a njëriñ suma boppa and then become a professional locally.
All right, thank you, sir. Badara.
How can I ensure? Yeah. If you want to be accountable to the people, you have to be able to show them your books. Man lima day gis dama day gis ne yeneen fédérations yi dañ dee publish send budget bi, send statement of accounts yi and then make it public. I said this in my campaign, during my campaign ne ñun we will be able to make those things public. Suñ assets yi and everything, how much we have ak yooyu noonu, when you make those things public then nit yi dinañ understand ñaata ngeen nekk di spend ak ñaata ngeen dee am. But suñ toogee di dégg ne 616 million am na am gisuñ foo ko spend, then xam nga duñu understand. And the administrative side, you have to train the people. I've said this times without number. Then they wanted the camp project, the coaches, administrators, referees, and medics. When was there ever an administrative course here? Amut. But as a seasoned administrator, I believe I have little knowledge and experience that I can share with clubs. Then a week do they wrong, but that I don't get a call or a text from a grassroots club, sometimes even the league clubs. Then I'm issue bini lan mo si sa halat ag yoy noonu. I'm not claiming to be a repository of knowledge, like I said, but suma halat bugata, dama leen dee mun a advice, and in most cases, daf leen si dee mun a jàppale. So what you do is to train them, organize a coaching a program boo xam ne aside of the secretary general, the general secretaries, even team managers yi da nga war a mun a dem training. Man dama dee wax ne man dama am problem sax ak people going to executive meetings di sol ay tracksuit ak yooyu. It's called executive. Xam nga yooyu noonu yëpp you have to get it right from the. It's an executive meeting, so people should be well attired when they go to those meetings. If a team manager comes to a meeting, comes in a tracksuit and everything, it's all normal. So people get used to those things. Nga xam ne da nga am a structure boo xam ne dañ ñoo respect from ab initio. So administrators yëpp dañ war a dem training. Policy makers yi, you should be able to understand to organize a retreat boo xam ne di nga leen explain ne ok léegi yaa ngi si executive bi. You may not have done any course, or you can invite people, experts. We have people know how they can write documents as a particular well-seasoned journalist. When I was at the former club, dama ko waxoon ne ko mu bindal ma a document boo xam we could use it mu charge ma ñu negotiate bi after that ma ko may free. But dama dee reach out man noonu laa mel. So those are things you get professionals who will be able to come and do some trainings and capacitize those people. That way su gaay génnee fii xëj amut fii rek suñ demee ñu tukki they're able to deal with their peers at that level. So there should be trainings. Trainings yi du dee am. So ñun dañoo ensure trainings yooyu am, and that is the reason why that campaign promise nekkuma coach moo tax mënuma share suma knowledge and experience, but as a citizen administrator I'm able to do what I have, to share with the people who are administering these clubs. I hope that answers.
No. Charlie, too much. I'm gonna time difference, but yeah. Thank you very much, Sadibu, for this brilliant like answering questions. So man, I just have maybe few questions, someone. Then now I'm the space
Man, can
to
you hear
ask.
Badara? Man, I can't.
Yeah, Madi.
Okay.
Okay. Sadibu.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So man, my question is I was doing some research in relations to this agency stuff like previously, and then after the election, gis naa ne TRC or the other platforms, sport, like I don't know how if I pronounce it properly. And then also Mangdon said answer an interview with the guy that you named here, the Nick guy. So Mongla introduced as an agent. And then on transfer market, Mungfa, you are a partner, you are under an agency, right? Clearly written as a partner. But then Gisao Danye facilitate on trials for some kids to Turkey. And then on the agency's name, Gisnan for some notable Gambian names. And then when you look at the FIFA agency regulations and stuff, like when you read a particular section about, like, if you're in an agency or an agent, you cannot be a member of FIFA or a CAF confederation or a national federation. So don't you think that is a conflict of interest, like your possible ambition, even though you're not the president yet, but you served in the federation and then have previously involved in player transfers? And then with regards to the Turkey one, like I've seen one where I had one of the kids was given a different uh, how to call it, different name with a different age on that trip. Is this true or false? Like, this is one question that I wanted you to answer, Hauma. The other question is unrelated, but it all comes back to when we talk about administration. I know most of the time recently Gisna Gamfood came up with that issue of that missing money, and then I saw some of the people in part of the TRC saying later on Genko, and some at some point there were conflicting information. Okay, there was a commission conducted or an investigative panel conducted, and then at some point it was like doron nga di fay or na fay nga yep, and then they were like they exonerate you not to pay the rest of the money. So don't you think because for instance, this is public funds, and then GFF, people pay these monies to GFF or maybe a grant, but they work for people. Don't you think you should have paid everything regardless of nyom sendly? That is, if you haven't paid, because it keeps on coming, and then someone would say, okay, key, like what Babu was trying to say, maybe the 6 and 9 aspect of things. No, okay, these are the same people. Maybe he fell out with them. This is why he is like trying to create his own thing. And if somebody is looking for a revolution or a new thing, might want to say, okay, ñi nekk di criticize it, they're all the same people. So that was something that I just wanted to
Okay, you
understand.
listed so many things. I don't know which one to start with. But first of all, the money issue. I think I made a video. I've answered that 1 million times. So I'm not even gonna go back on that. I've answered that 1 million times, and I'm sure you or everybody on this platform may have come across that. Any interview, buma dem dama answer lolo. So I'm not gonna be answering that time and time again. Now the federation is at the position to provide
Yeah,
information to
sorry,
that.
why no, like, that was on a different platform and not on this platform.
No, series of
Yeah.
platforms. Otherwise, you do the same thing. Like I said, well, okay. Like I said, there has to be a limit to everything. I'll answer that.
No,
But
but
lima
like,
wax
come
moy,
on, honestly,
suma
I
suma. No, deglu, mailen ma. That question keeps being asked all the time. If you want to look at somebody's history, su fekkee ne nit sàccakat la dang dee xool history am nga xool ndax dafa musoon a sàcca xaalis fii o dañ ko dénkoon dara mu jël ko o dañ ko santoon dara mu def ko xam nga defut ko nu mu ko war a defee. I was asked to travel with money. I traveled with money, and I had issues at the airport, and immediately I had issues. I informed the federation of the issue I have. I think people are even getting bored of the story. You all had it. You're saying the platform, but I had the issue, and immediately I informed the federation. The money that was entrusted to me got missing, and it got missing at the airport. Day before my travel, the whole day I was between Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Javante Dugagena to get the money. Pull halis bobu non. When I got the money, it was really late. I didn't even have a visa for Morocco. And I had, I think, about 8 or 9 hours transit in Morocco. I got the money. I left here after midnight, around 1 o'clock. I got to Morocco around 3:50. They took me to the same place where everybody was, and I had the money well kept. And during that time, like I said, that was where Vohamne Nelaw Japanama. And man, when I was going through the security, because so rombe fena pull them out fena, nobody would just know ne man dama ame halis. doo mun a tukki rek nit gis ne da nga amee xaalis when I went through the gendarme dama gars yi dañ gis xaalis bi and I showed them a letter boo xam ne fédération bi boobu lañ ma dee woon ñu ne ma xaalis bi is more than $10,000 ma ne leen ne yes I am traveling as an executive member of the Gambia Football Federation. I am going to Angola. We have a match there, and I'm supposed to go as advance party. And Halis B la ñoo use. Ma won leen Halis B. We checked. They confirmed it was the same amount. Whether they were the ones who made people know ne maa ngi am Halis or whatever, I don't know because konte wuñ ko si public dañ laa ñu konte ko. But lima muna xam mooy ne su ma xamoon kan moo ko jël time bii nii duñ tollu fii. But when I got to Angola, that was when I realized that the money was not in my bag. Because bima ege text na guys at the emergency committee, pour wax len ne accident, everything is okay. Manager bi mu call ma mu ne ma ne okay, I had your hair. Ma ne ko yeah, ma ngi ñëw si suuf pour ñu fay. Because of manager boobu noonu, bala trip boobu, man ma demoon as advance party, bu ñoo njëkk play Angola, bu ñu Angola win 2-1. And when I went there, I was giving about $37,000 or so. Te lolu lañ d'accordoon because I remember Matar Mbodj more contact on the different hotels moom moo ñu doon dimbali because he was good at that. So he spoke to them and then we got the quotation, they sent the invoice. I was giving the exact amount. When I got there ma gis ne xaalis bi dafa bari because trip boobu sax man joxuñ ma allowance ñu ne xaalis amutoon. So I went bi ma demee ma toog a manager bi ma ne ko this is the money I've been given but I want to ask you to negotiate with me because we will be coming here again for the AFCON qualifier, that is the FIFA qualifier. If you can give us a discount on all rooms and food, I can assure you I'll speak to my president. Anytime we are coming to Angola, we will stay in this hotel. Negotiate, we agreed. When we negotiated, we agreed. I was able to pay about $31,000 and I had a change of over $6,000. I am a printer. I could have come back home, forged my receipts because loolu lañ ma jox and then parce que that was something ne lii ñaata la lii la ok ñu jox la xaalis bi nga dem nga negotiate. I didn't keep the money. From there la inform gars yi ne leen ne dama am wéccit ñun naka nga amee wéccit we gave you exact ma ne non dama négocier tam manager bi ne ko su ñoo ñëwaat fii la ñoo stay because of fédération bi amul xaalis. I came back te trip boobu awma allowance $1 sax jëluma ko fa. I brought it back and I gave straight Madam Joko Kemo in his office ma handover ak yeneen change yu ma amee yàlla def loolu noonu second trip bi ma am prédicament boo xam ne xaalis bi daf ma réer and immediately bu mu xewee dama contact gars yi ne leen ne xaalis bi réer na ma but I am going to pay every cent. I had a player the player koo xam ne man maa ko dee dimbale si lu bari mu ne ma saa bàyyil ma fay ko balaa yabaate di am ma ne ko no I am going to pay this from my sweat ni konte coow du doon agsi fii nii. I told him, Maneko, no, I will pay this from my sweat. Munema no, sa bayil rek ma living ma isi halis bi nga fay ko Maneko no, do ko fay because su ko fayon sax dinañ ne dafa living halis bi xale bi la Kamasa mu jël li man I work for everything kuma xam dina am ne man I'm from a humble background. Everything that I have I
know
work
you
for.
as a man of integrity because I know you personally in England, and I know you as a man of integrity. And I feel because it's good to clear these things, not
No, it's
per
good,
se.
it's good,
No,
it's
no,
good, it's
absolutely. It's
good.
good to clear these things and on this platform because so many people, and you know
Yeah.
the fact that the reason why I asked and I asked you to layer it here, basically,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to what I wanted to hear, I've already had that, whether it was declared. Because obviously, if one has to travel, they allow $10,000 max. If not,
Yes.
apart from that, it has to be declared. And you've mentioned that it was declared. That's enough
Ablai,
Yes.
said. I just
Ablai, no,
yes.
Ablai, man, my like question be man. I'm trying to
Okay, go
draw
on,
a
darling.
reference here because recently you get these reports the players with that the last AFCON whatever games that we had last time, some monies were stolen at the hotel. So I was like thinking, okay, this was an incident that was reported. I think when certain things happen, like a proper institution, people should learn from it, like avoiding certain cash payments and stuff. That could, like maybe a report was written. What was the recommendation? Maybe the federation could have learned from that. But I totally understand, and I'm glad that Sadibu cleared this.
What should I can I continue?
Yes, with the other questions.
Yes. So yes. So when that happened, the player told me, Manako, no, I'll pay it from my sweat. The player didn't find that, but I said I'll pay it. And immediately I came from the allowance buñ ma fay because man dañ ma joxoon allowance. I came immediately, I went straight to the bank. I started depositing. ñoom dañ faate woon sax ne xam nga loolu mu ngi doon xew. They ignored it because there were some members ñoo xam ne dañ ma wax ne bul woor yi bul ko fay xam nga nit réeral na fi xaalis dara xewut. But man nekkuma type boo xam ne dama dee jël alali jàmbur. I went there and I started paying the denc suma receipts. There was a time there was an issue at the federation and I spoke to the president and I said something. Maybe people felt offended. Ak yooyu noonu benn day ma toog ñu ne ma ok ñu oma meeting ne waaw loolu was months after ne ok am nga dañ decide and it's not the whole executive the few members waaw dañ decide ne daal xaalis bu réer nii xam nga in order to protect you we have to investigate it and things of that sort man leen I don't have a problem with that man leen in fact man dama start di fay sax di nga start di fay man leen yeah I have my receipts go and check in the account te when I came and I started paying I remember the finance director was telling me yow sooy fay xaalis bii nii ban account because dama bëggoon a xam ban account laa ko war a dugal mu ne ma non xam nga xaaral la ñu bañ am a policy decision ne da nga ko war a fay ma ne ko non so benn day dama leen wax ne dafa am fine boo xam ne suma team bi loolu lañ war a fay jox leen ma account number so when they gave me the account number man ma door 50,000 ak yooyu noonu xam nga ma bindal leen afterwards ne leen ne su fekkee ne xaalis yoo leen ma war a fay because suma company bi dañ daan printal guy and they owed me a substantial amount ma ne loo leen di def xaalis yoo leen ma ameel yëpp dugal leen ko foofu noonu you don't have to pay me because there were times dama daan print issues things for free ak yooyu noonu jox leen ko or times yoo xam ne fédération bi dañ bugg a camp under 23 or dañ bugg a camp abal ñu 400 taw abal ñu 500 taw te am na ñu ma ëpp xaalis dañ ma leen bul ko def but because I wanted things to work damaa ñëw ma jox leen check ma dem ñu jël xaalis bi saa yu gars yi amee xaalis ñu delloo ma so I started paying then they said there was going to be a commission it was the same time they set up a commission for the technical director and another one the commission was established I went there and I think some people went and gave testimonies before me man bi ma demee foofu sax they asked me they like we don't understand why you're here because most of the people said yow da nga daan abal fédération bi xaalis you'll make your vehicle available whether dañoo transport dara up country or dañ am ay gan or dañ bugg a print nga may leen tickets free and stuff like that I said it doesn't matter I lost money and I had started paying and time bu ma fekk fayoon na about 600 and something thousand so ñooñu they ask questions loo xam ne foofu la they made their recommendations it went to the president man xaw ma woon loolu but another 4 or 5 months later the president called me te ñooñu report bi àggoon na because ma gisee date bi gars yi def seen report bi si la share ak man mu ne ma waaw xam nga report bi génn na you've been exonerated they said based on whatever I shared the letter at some point ne xam nga the balance of the money should be waived because yow li nga contribute si football ak sa resources yoo dee part with to make sure things work dafa ëpp loolu which is true because of man li ma daan sacrifice from my own funds éega na loolu but dama ko doon def rek because of dama bugg a dëkk bi but like I said dañ ma wax ne am na ñoo xam ne dañ ma wax ne bul ko fay but I paid so when a letter came from the federation to say ne commission bi yóbbu nañ la commission which is for me was like a court and the court decides ne you should not pay I stopped paying at the time the balance of the money was waived so I took that letter ma ñëw ma denc ko that was it was okay until when I decided to vie for the presidency because bu ma loolu dalee ñu doon wax ne moom moo dee nekk fii di raise questions di def lii léegi dina noppi that's not Sadibou parce que yàlla xam na ne sàccu ma ko and I'm not the type that you silence like that I told them this is not going to silence me tey laay gën a mun a wax if there is anything that I see man I'm not the type that takes blackmail su fekkee ne gis naa dara loo xam ne dama fii ne doxut dinaa raise suma voice and that was what I did I think that clears the money and regarding the Turkey trip when we organize these scoutings man I don't own the players when I was at the team I was foog ma ne am na time boo xam ne register nañ player ñu ne non dafa am date bi dafa am date bi non ñun dañ dee organize lii ñu invite different clubs and we have a page boo xam ne dañ ko dee create and we put the rules and regulations of the scouting form bi sax if I would have shared with you dañ la dee send form bi ñu ne la send ñu sa list of players send age ndax am nañ passport ak yooyu noonu so we can make a research a particular club came with players man I don't know the player well apparently the player had a different passport which I don't know 6 of them were identified during the trials and 6 of them were taken to Fenerbahce when we got there they liked the player that they wanted them to play in the first team instead of even the team bu ñu leen soxloon they started making research buñ dugalee ITC bi they realized the player bi musoon naa play Sénégal sax waaye ITC am mu ngi Sénégal because Gambian players yi dañ dee jàlla booda bi Sénégal la ñoo request ITC su ñëwee duñ dee request ITC bi dañ dee ñëw rek ñu playaat gars yi gis ne mu ngi foofu noonu ba pare mu ngi woon si team boobu noonu ak yooyu ñooñu xam nañ ni konte ñooñu seen bopp sax because ñoom dañu wax ne na play bi ñi immediately ñooñu they knew because ñu ngi fi woon gis nañ everything The way everything was done, it was transparent. Man, more player. So they told me, ne Lila, we cannot take the player because of player be the farm information, bele, which was club be information buñ ma provider. Man, I don't own the player. I did not write the player's date of birth. Man, defaral my player be passport. So I think that clears it. The other thing which you mentioned about Sportlex, since when I was at my former club, we worked with the same agent. Bu ñoom Ali Sow doon dem den ñoom Youssoufa Bob Modou Badji ñoom Lamine Diallo. During that time, he had always wanted me to leave because of Maran like yow ñaata la club bi di fay. Why can't you be somebody in the Gambia who's a scout koo xam ne moo ma mun a scoutal soo gisee players yoo xam ne da nga leen di identify nga indi leen ñu ñëw xam nga ñu transfer leen. I told him man for that time it wasn't for the money. It was me seeing ne am na xale yoo xam ne ñu ngi Gambia they can move. I remember even when Musa transferred from Atalanta to Bologna, I went and sat with Luca Percassi, the president of Atalanta, and Dr. Semprini. Dañ ma laaj yow xanaa club bi ñaata lañ lay fay ma leen dara ñu ne ma yow li nga fay ni pour li ngeen a war a mun a am te man maa fay suma own ticket ma fly ba Italy pour dem meet ñooñu noonu to fight so that my former club could get whatever they were getting. So that person had always wanted me to work with him. And to tell you, man, I am not an agent. I tell people I'm not an agent. If Nick calls me an agent, I tell them I'm not an agent. If I was an agent, I would have done the same example. As a partner there, I'm an investor. And I can tell you now, we have an academy here. We're working on putting all the things in place that is called Baudi Football Academy. It's an investment. Some of these things, because when you go public with certain things, I know it not suppress lolu dinañ ko fight, they'll make certain things happen. But I'm happy to say here, I am not an agent. I would have done the exam. I am a partner there because I am an investor. I am not an agent, and I don't represent players. I don't even have the legal mandate to represent players because according to FIFA, to be able to represent players, you have to be an agent. So pour lolu mu clair ne and man duma agent and I have to work in football. If that is what I can do to be able to change the lives of some of these young people for them to go to Europe, I am happy to do that. But I can tell you for free, there's an academy that is registered where I am a partner, where I own shares, and I am happy to tell you I am not an agent. I hope that answers your question.
No, no, okay, that good. But I just wanted to understand, just for clarity purpose, as an investor in an agency, made you a shareholder. So don't you think it's still there will be a conflict of interest in relations to this
How?
FIFA
How?
rules, and then how
Show me
you
if there's
whether
any. Show me if there's any.
no as an investor in an
Yes.
agency, a shareholder, and then
Yes.
wanting to run, because agency have agents wanting to run for FA president of the Gambia. Don't you think there would be still a conflict of interest?
If you invest in a hospital, are you a doctor?
No, it doesn't matter.
No, no,
That's
it matters. I'm
semantics.
asking you.
No, no,
I'm asking you a question.
it's not
I
related.
invested, I invested in an agency doesn't mean I am an agent. I am not
No,
an agent. And
no.
there's no conflict of interest because I have told you I have a club. I have an academy, Baudi, that is registered. I have all the documents. I'm not an agent. And I have to be involved in football. And I know if I associate myself with any club right now, they'll suffer. So I decided to be on my own and get things moving, invest my money into Sportlex. I have shares there doesn't mean I play a part. Because I own shares there doesn't mean I play a part. I'm not an agent. Nikonte, I would have done the exam and make a lot of money. But I'm going that.
Hey, Jollof, that's not clear.
I, I mean, my friend. Yeah, but for security purpose, yeah, yeah, na wadiga.
Well, yeah, man, Manko Dega.
Yeah, okay. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, interesting discussion actually.
dama nuyu Sadibou suma boss bi, and then everybody on the platform today. So man, I don't actually have a question directly. Come, dama buga just add one or two things with regard to the 6 and 9 thing, because I'm nga politician like, even though I wouldn't hate to turn this platform for 2 minutes into a political science class. Why, I mean, I will try to manage. So Libby, I just wanted to understand the typical mindset of the Gambian. Come, man, I'm an individual. I don't like to talk about things that are not enforceable. Man, that is why I'm somebody that always try to talk about laws, rules of the game. There is nowhere in the GFF books, wala the Gambian constitution, Wahamantene will tell you that you cannot work in an establishment with people that are not productive or that are corrupt, and then want to run the same institution. Why I'm saying this is, come Sadibu, we won Fele GFF between 2018
after
after
the
the
second
second
term
term
of
of
Kaba,
Kaba,
the
the 2022,
2022,
and then
and
he
then he
decided to
decided to
leave
leave
and
and
run
run
against the
against the
same
same
Kaba.
Kaba.
So
So
if
if
the
the
same
same
Kaba
Kaba
can
can
run
run
for
for
elections,
elections,
why
why
not
not
Sadibu
Sadibu
that
that
was
was
just
just
working
working
with
with
him
him
and
and
was
was
not
not
the
the
main
main
enforcing
enforcing
authority?
authority?
So
So
man,
man,
I
I
find
find
that
that
very
very
troubling
troubling
when
when
I
I
see
see
people
people
saying,
saying,
"Nyun, we are
we are
not
not
going
going
to
to
vote
vote
for
for
Sadibu
Sadibu
because
because
Sadibu
Sadibu
was
was
working
working
with
with
Kaba."
Kaba.
So
So
which
which
means
means
Danga
Danga
vote
vote
for
for
Kaba,
Kaba,
that
that
was
was
the
the
president,
president,
the
the
main
main
enforcing
enforcing
authority
authority
in
in
the
the
federation,
federation,
and
and
not
not
somebody
somebody
that
that
was
was
just
just
working
working
with
with
him,
him.
a co-opted member. So you
You
see
see
the,
the,
typical
typical
mindset
mindset
of
of
the
the
Gambia.
Gambia.
And
And
this
this
was
was
exactly
exactly
how
how
most
most
stakeholders
stakeholders
voted
voted
in
in
the
the
elections.
elections.
Man,
Man,
I'm
I'm
not
not
questioning
questioning
their decisions, because at the end of the day, Kuneka, you have a right and a choice to vote for whosoever you want. Whether that choice was based on anything genuine, that is your own problem. But to say, Sadibu was working with Kaba, that is why I didn't vote for him. And then you went ahead and voted for the same Kaba that was running the federation as the head. That is very troubling. So, man, what I just want to put across is that let us be trying to talk about things that we can enforce. Man, I think our focus should be on Sadibu. What was he doing when he was at the federation? How productive was Sadibu? How complicit was Sadibu in all the corruption acts that were happening alleged corruption acts that were happening in the federation? Lolu more warona make a question. What was Sadibu doing in the federation? Good or bad? Was Sadibu complicit in the corruption acts? But to say, Sadibu was working with Kaba and now he decided to run against Kaba, Lolu, raises questions. Fine. It raises questions of, you know, were you actually advising the federation to be doing good when you were with them? But that should never be a basis where a primary stakeholder would vote. Because at the end of the day, so vote, you are going to vote. Maybe the consequences will come later, as right now, the face. Because what is happening in our football legally, most people will not talk about it. Most people are not talking about it. The journalists are trying here and there, but it's not helping. Federation B is not moving. That is the truth. Whether Sadibu contest is, 2016 moving or not, the truth remains there. Kaba does not have the capacity to run football in this country. So the issue of the 6 and 9 thing should be eradicated. Well, let's face real things.
Ika,
Let us
Ika,
talk
Ika,
about things that are
Ika,
possible.
Ika.
Manolabuga.
Well, man, my view, because this is what people will say, but that is down to team restore confidence to convince the stakeholders. Man, I don't have a vote, but the stakeholders do have a vote, and that is down to team restore confidence to turn around and go around to, let's say, a club and say, hey, yes, we are part of this system, and convince them. That's what they do. Sadibu was not any other ordinary person in Team Kaba. He was the campaign manager. He went out there, led a voice, led a campaign for people to believe in Kaba and voted for him. So obviously, I think we need to be fair with the stakeholders. We have to allow them to decide on that.
So okay, understand Alono. You are just basically telling me that if you contribute, whether by voting or sending a message, or I mean adding your voice at a rally to campaign for a particular person to get into public office, now you cannot go back and tell the people that the person that you campaigned for is not actually the right person. Is that what you are
But
trying to
you
tell
need
me?
to convince the people because people can come up and say, Yako fi wahon daga wahla hep.
Hey,
Christian fi bara.
No, no, no.
So you have to convince the people
you got
and
drop,
tell them,
drop,
yes,
drop the
I
vote
said
down.
this and this. But this time around, when I'm there, I'm gonna change this. That's what Team Restore Confidence has to do. You have a big load on your shoulders.
I mean, Al, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, all right,
Sawana
Bob,
here.
come on. All
Yeah,
right, Bob.
I think, what's the guy's name? Ika, you are just muddying whatever good Sadibu has just done here. He has definitely answered that question very well, but you're coming and questioning the Gambianness or what of the people, you are just muddying the answer provided by Sadibu. Sadibu has ably answered this. Sadibu was the one who came forward and sold the idea of Kaba to Gambians and the stakeholders, for that matter, and people bought it. It might be directly because of people trusting the word of Sadibu, or the program that Sadibu believes in, that he is selling to the Gambian stakeholders who voted in Kaba. So the vision or lack of the GFF, Sadibu has to come and campaign and said to tell Gambians that this is the way forward. People went with it. So when Sadibu went into it and I said, okay, this is what I believe in. I believe in this vision. I believe in this project. But the way the ship is sailing is in the wrong direction. He has all rights, as he has explained, to step aside. So, but when the ship is steadied again, he has all right again to sail on that ship until when he thinks that no, things are not changing. You are going back to where you came from. So you come in here and questioning the integrity of Gambians and so on. I think that is very unfortunate. You are just muddying what Sadibu has just elaborated and made very, very, very clear here. Thank you.
Wrong. Never question the Gambia. That is the of the
Because
Gambia.
can we discuss that? Because I think we have a couple of questions that we need to ask Sadibu, if that's all right, please. We have a
I think I
camper
need
and we are here for the late night,
to
and
clarify.
Sadibu might, because Sadibu will camper and it might be late, and he's a family man, so that we will make sure that we can ask the questions we want to ask him, please. If that's all right, we can discuss this later.
I mean, from this topic, in fact, I just have to add this question to Sadibu. That is, with your
Chama, you
campaign.
get Dega.
Are you
Yeah,
getting me?
you not Dega. You get Dega loud and clear. I think Sadibu is also here.
Oh, okay. Sadibu, are you getting me? So is someone here?
Loud and clear. I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
allowing you guys to talk. Yeah.
All right. So your campaign has brought in some unprecedented development and even, let me say, awakening of Gambians in terms of sports. Kudos to you and your team. You've just changed the landscape in how football politics works in this country. Okay,
Thank you.
you've
Thank you.
done very well, you and your team.
Thank
Okay.
you.
One observation I have is that you've done this great job of awakening the eyes of people, and now people are just not looking at the federation, but now even down the football pyramid, people have interest, in what is happening there in terms of who is leading them. Okay, but these politics also have just also created two very extreme camps in some cases. Okay, you as a football administrator or somebody who wants to lead the FA, that is if you want to contest again. I presume that you want to lead the federation. If you are going to lead the federation, how do you plan to bring these people on this divide? Because we see a lot of journalists who are definitely pro Sadibu, and you see journalists who are definitely Team Kaba, and this is not hidden. Okay, so if at all those people who are supporting you are saying everything possible to tarnish the image of Kaba, what do you think if you come in? You will be able to bring everybody on board, and we will stop the fighting that is happening. And the other camp will not now turn into an opposition who will always be tarnishing your image when you are the presidency. How do you intend to manage that?
Okay. See, there's one thing they say in politics: there are no permanent enemies. How people voted in the recent elections, to be honest, does not really matter because you need the same people to vote. What matters is how do we heal those wounds and come together for the sake of taking our football from the situation it is right now to change it. A good number of the people who I am with in Team Resto, or some of the people, a good number of the people who supported me these elections, were on the other side when I campaigned for Kaba. But what I did was my relationship with them still remained. And I told most of them, this is what I believe. It's okay for people to have divergent views. People see this as if you're on the other side, you are an enemy. No, you are not an enemy. It is politics, and it is okay for people to have divergent views. That is what promotes development. So when I came out to talk to these people that were on the other side, it was easy because even the time I was there, I made it clear. This is what I believe now. If it doesn't work, I'm going to come out. During that campaign, I told people, journalists would ask you, if you go in there and they don't deliver, I said, I'll be the first person to come out. And that was what happened. So if you believe in something and you go in there, it doesn't work, you come out. So you're able to, like the Manis girls will say, I didn't shit where I eat. I came to those same people and said, listen, I told you, if it didn't work, I'll come out, I'm here. And they believe, they support it. So in order for the football to work, people have to have the same mindset. You're not going to have everybody, but you have to include everyone. What is happening right now is anybody who doesn't support their team agenda, you're an enemy. You don't come. Your team will be suppressed. Your team will be oppressed. You cannot come anywhere near the federation. In fact, I don't even go around that end for anybody that is related to them to see me because they get punished. That should not be the approach. If Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton went neck and neck for the Democratic primaries, but when he won, what did he do? He brought Hillary as the Secretary of State. So for you to be able to deliver, the people on the other side must be brought to the table. Whether they want to take a part or not, you approach them. You make them understand. The other camp that were on the other side when we went, Kaba and Mustafa Kebe, I was in this team, but I was able to go and meet them. And when I spoke to them, they listened. So I did not create any enmity to say, no, don't come near here. These people are enemies. No. So when you lose elections, you have to talk to the same people that you feel were on the other side. Because until the day you die, you are never going to know who voted for you in the ballot box. Somebody will sit here and tell you, hey, maybe this guy did not vote for you. You're just going to be there assuming. You will never know the people who voted you in an election because it's a secret ballot. So how are you even able to determine? Maybe somebody told you something and they reneged and you got evidence there, but still, you need the same numbers. If you have 75, the guy has 50, and you term all those 50 as enemies, how do you expect to win? So for us to move is we have to unite. Obviously, you cannot have everybody. Like I said, how people voted doesn't really matter anymore. What matters is how do we salvage our football? Because in countries you run at an aeroplane speed, you ride a bike, you start and win. So
We are
rather
not
than
on
we
a bike,
negative,
Salif. Salif, we are not on a bike. It's like an 80-year-old, my 80-year-old grandmother walking.
well, okay, but come, because Lima, there's so many things. I go to other countries, you go to summit, you speak, you see certain things, you work with them, you see some of the projects. Man, any country that I go, I make sure that they try and reach out to their federation and approach them, learn from what they do, said some of the things they do. Purmuna said, ma compare. And when you compare them to here, countries like Sierra Leone, Senegalese used to come here and play Nawetan. Now you know that they already them for no, the for no. What is the problem? Because we are getting things wrong from the grassroots. So we have to fix that. We have to make sure that it's sorted. You cannot sit here and say, when one of the trials, I invited almost all the clubs. Some of them will tell me, no, you don't know, because but I'm not the one who gets affected, it's the players. If that was the case, the man, okay, because I'm a feel like support to Loma, don't know. Even my former club, they said they were not coming. But you invite. If I was angry, I know this about them, I don't know. But out of respect for every club, I keep these things secret because of my relationship with guys. So there's no need for us to create enmity or block niti sa social media page. For man dama fogg ne dañu wara ñew together. Don't wanna am ñepp ci benen neeg. No. That will never be possible. But at least if you have the majority, even a simple majority, and then nga door di liggéey, reach out to people, even if they see you otherwise, reach out to them and make sure they understand the ni ngay demé. If you have a vision ne ni la buga away, and people don't understand naka nga buga away is a problem. Suma vision su nekkon ne ñun dañ buga jaar ni ñu dem basse, ñu dem sampa dara basse. Mané gaay ne kay ñu dem basse. Instead of nit yi ñu xaar ma GPS yi gaay dem di ma xaar ci terminal bi, I have a problem. So people have to understand suma vision bi. Ñu xam ne fii la ñoo jëlee moto fii la ñoo jaaree nii la ñoo mun a demee, and for me to be able to do that I have to be di nga mere ñeena yi, but it's so you don't have to show them because you owe them that obligation, that duty of care. So man suma gom-gom mooy ne daal everybody has to come back on the table. ñu gisee ko ne écosystème bi lañ war a développer ba mu nekk a multi-million-dollar industry, xale yi di si mun a am salary. Ministry of Youth and Sports will be able to take credit for the fact ne league clubs yi yëpp transform nañ to business and they're all generating revenue. It's like Simba and Yanga playing, or it's like in the UNAF ko xamne Al Ahli ak Zamalek ñoy play mu ngi fess ak nit. We can do that. So demé nawetan fi nga gis 6:30 nga gis mu ngi fess. League matches yi dafa war na fess non. So we should be able to create that atmosphere. And to create that atmosphere, we have to reach out to everyone and ensure it works. There's no permanent enemy. I don't even have it.
Yeah, sorry. Just a follow-up question to that, because you did mention about, yes, you need all parties on board. This is not me saying it because I'm not on the ground, but certain clubs believe Sadibu Kamaso do sideline them. He doesn't invite them on his trials because they didn't vote for him. What will you say on that allegation? True or false?
That allegation is false. It's very false because, like I said, my former club did not vote for me, and they were written to. My PA Jabu will tell you we wrote to all the clubs, and some of the clubs will tell you, we will come to do. If a club tells you lila or lelela, maybe the parties there would not understand. If I am dealing with a certain group of people and I'm not in a financial transaction at yena man dam nek type bo xamne if you play funny games with me and I believe you're not truthful or honest and learning from my experience, I may not be able to go further with you on a thing bo xamne my image will be in jeopardy. Like you said,
No,
somebody
absolutely
mentioned the
right.
fact ne yóbbu nañ player boo xam ne dafa am ñaari passport, and lu ko waral mooy the people manning that club were not truthful. So su fekkee ne man suma history ak diw dafa nekka ne kooku nekkutoon di ma wax dëgga, ma dem di deal ak moom si beneen issue boo xam ne dafa involve integrity, kooku su ma dugalatee si issue bu mel noonu, is it my fault or faulty kooku?
It's your fault. You need to safeguard your integrity and your
So unless and until there's a change, it's not the club. Unless and until there's a change with the people who are making the policies, it's difficult for you because you don't want to go lañ lawa. So ma dilo na yo nga ne ma okay jox ma lii nii dina la jox lii jox loo ma ko. Time you next time ma ñëwaat, whatever you do to me I'll be wrong. Why if there's a change in the person who's handling the issue, da nga gis dëkk ak dëkk dañ dee wane duñ am dara pour def ak together ak keneen ki, waaye su fekkee ne xëj na njiit bi change na they able to deal with them. So because of ñi fa nekk ñoo xam ne ñooy govern, you feel ne kii mun naa relate ak moom, you'll be able to relate. So
But don't you
from
think if
experience,
you
I'm just
aspire
being
for,
careful with. Yeah, go on.
but don't you think somehow, yes, I'm not sure whether you aspire to contest again on the next elections or not. That's something that obviously for Team Restore Confidence to decide, because Team Restore Confidence, I believe, is not only Sadibu Kamaso. That is for
Exactly.
Team Restore Confidence to decide for the future.
Yes.
But
Yes.
don't you think Team Restore Confidence should try and have a form of a corporate relationship with those people, especially if you're going to need their votes in the future? Rather than if Sadibu believes that, okay, let's say I'll take an example of, I would say, Real de Banjul. It's no secret that they supported Team Kaba. Let's say Real de
Mhm.
Banjul. Sadibu Kamaso, mu sideline Team Kamaso, Real de Banjul. I'm just taking an example. Please let nobody
Mhm.
quote me. And Sadibu decides to um, sideline Real de Banjo on his trials and all that. But the same team Restore Confidence can go back to Team Real in few years' time and say, hey, we need your votes. Do you think then they'll want to give you their votes?
First of all, man, mama trials. I don't own the trials.
But you
I
you
can make recommend. No,
facilitate it. You
I
run the
don't.
trial.
I'll answer the question. Yeah, I make recommendations. But what you're saying, like I said, there were times we wrote to almost all the clubs, first and second division. There was a time where trials were morning and afternoon. We wrote to all the clubs, and when we wrote to all the clubs, some clubs were telling the others, "Do you Bulen ko wadara why do you?" And that caused us great inconvenience and embarrassment. So we went with
Dunyo,
those
is
that
it a
came.
word of mouth, a rumor, or was it
No,
written?
they did
Because
not even show up. They did not show up. When you invited, they did not even show up, and we will send them letters. So ñëwuñ sax si day trials bi. Other clubs came in. Now, when those clubs came in, every time a team plays, scouts then they identify. If, for instance, BST brings players, they identify 4 players from BST. You identify from Team Rhino. You identify from Bombarda, for instance. So next trials, then they want all those clubs you have invite for player. We want them to come. So it becomes difficult to even have room to invite because today how every day then they 3 or 4 teams you have know they play. So during those days, then they select the best players, and after Lulu, then the final day best selection, hit the nyar or best selection. And out of that best selection, hit 3 or 4 players then far choose. But next trials, they want to see all the players that come from all those clubs again. So then they struggle pull muna indi yena club si because of hate na amulo space. So what you do hate na dang they match club bi ak club beneen pour ñu mëna ñëw. But like I said, there were times yoo xam ne yeneen club si dañoo wax ne bëgguñ ko sax mu ñëw suñ training ground, bëgguñ sax mu jege suñ lii, ñun duñ ñëw, or we are not gonna come. And I could have said ne ñooñu duñ ñëw, but no. Clubs, all the clubs came. And the issue of TRC, Lolo TRC would be there to decide. Team Restore Confidence got registered
yeah,
as
absolutely.
a
That's
civil
what I
society.
said. I wouldn't say Sadi
So,
was gonna run,
yeah.
but
I'll
we have
have
to
one
respect
final
Team Restore
question,
Confidence.
if you don't mind.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, it's about the infrastructure,
Yes, sir.
the football infrastructure. You've mentioned about the football pyramid going to the third division, that they play only few games and knockout games. Probably you play a game and then you are off it. You know, don't you think that is because of the lack of infrastructure? That's why the third division, because the third division, which is the regional FAs, are playing in these northern zones, and it's the same football fields that are being used for the second division and sometimes the first division. So we already know that there are not enough fields in the country. That's one. I wouldn't do justice to this without mentioning the FIFA 2.0 project. Of course, we've seen how the federation have implemented it. What will you have done differently in that implementation? And the fact that you think that the third division should have a proper league spanning a number of games, where will you play those games?
Very well. The Nawetans are playing so many games, no, and they're playing at different grounds. And as I said, the Nawetans are operating in a silo. They're different. Even the federation will tell you the Nawetan centers are not part of us. But when they're Super Nawetan, the federation takes over. The Nawetan centers are the places where the RFAs play their matches. That's why I said those games are played in the off season of the league, when the league plays, because that's when they give the Nawetan centers to play. So you should be able to create a pathway. As a matter of fact, the true challenge, as I said, extends beyond constructing of stadium. Yes, that's a challenge. But then we have to cultivate a culture that values sports from the grassroots. We have to have it right. The rules and regulations, the regulations for the academies, the rules of all these competitions, the capacity of all these grassroots clubs needs to be built so they understand it. If they are not understanding things properly at the nursery and the primary level, you have a problem when they come to the high school and the university. Yes, you have infrastructural challenge, but that is the fault of the federation, in the sense that GFF will tell you they are not responsible to build pitches. It is very clear. It is the responsibility of government, yes. But you collected monies from FIFA on behalf of the country to build infrastructure. So do not come here and tell people you're not responsible to build infrastructure. If your wife tells you it is not her responsibility to cook for you, then you would get a chef. So she cannot be collecting the fish money from you and not cook and tell you she's not responsible. So that's just simple. So if the federation collects money, they have to spend it. Money spent for football should be spent on football. You've gone to Serekunda, you've seen what they've done to their park. They've even built a pavilion. They've done a nice grass pitch. How much are they generating? They are able to attract sponsors because they're accountable to their people. They're investing the money back to the teams. They're giving teams 20% of the gate takings. GFF even took over the Super Nawetan here. Most of the money went back. You should have seen my email when I wrote to the federation at the emergency at that time. They made 979,000. 972,000 all went to gate man, security, people who were selling tickets. Nothing went to the teams. All of the money went back to the people who were there standing at the gates. For what? So if you take the money and you spend it on football, obviously you'll get something. How much money was collected for the FIFA 1.0, 2.0? We are unable to access the FIFA 3.0 because of the mismanagement of funds. I have said this times without number when I was at the federation. If we pay any consultant or any contractor and the contractor does not deliver, let us take legal action. Unless somebody has collected a kickback from the contractor. I'm a businessman. If I have a contractual obligation and I deal with you, you do not deliver, take them to court. There's no such thing as no, it's Gambia. No, there's a problem. Maybe somebody or maybe funds are being siphoned somewhere. So I believe the funds that we received, Sierra Leone last year, built 4 pitches. They signed a contract with the Netherlands company to build 4 pitches, artificial pitches. And today they're able to beat us at U20 level. No, you don't halata because they have the infrastructure. Red Scorpions went there to play. Red Scorpions went there to play every day. You get trained artificial stuff. Yet the other days you muna fund pool play si gold project bi. You play ice high school si Suvi every day. So this is teams in upper river region you they struggle pool muna qualify sa. You train si Suvi you play artificial stuff for the final day pool selection bi. How many times would you qualify? So it's a problem. So the funds that were meant for football should just be spent on football. So there is a problem. Now we are unable to unlock FIFA 3.0 because of living room time. But 1.0 when the COVID came, then we have Lubari, they allowed 2.0. So guys, demand, yeah, GFF has been taken as a model. They were the best presenter of the FIFA 2.0. Yes, on paper, but infrastructurally, nothing.
Yeah, so now you know that's currently the problem. But how will you improve the infrastructure? Where are you going to get the funds? How are you going to get the funds? Because GFF right now, we all know the problem. We know that they cannot tap the rest of the funds because they have not been able to achieve the milestones needed for the disbursement. Those are the problems with the GFF. Now, when you are in office, what are you going to do? What are the concrete plans you have that I am going to build to transform Bakau into a 30,000 seater or a 20,000 or 15,000 seater? What are concrete plans that you have that for in my first 4 years in office, I'll be able to build one center here, another center here, another center here? That's what I'm really getting at.
Did you ever come across the starting 11?
Yes,
I did,
I
and
did.
allow me to help him. According,
Did
Sadibu,
you
I
find time
stand to
to
be
read it?
corrected. Your starting 11, a
Mm-hmm.
promise you made was you are going to deliver a good football pitch at every region
Exactly.
of the country.
Exactly.
Yes. No.
Yes.
That is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's why I say,
Yes,
when
Lord
you ask
Lagaiwa.
me
But
questions
what is
too, I
that?
also want to believe, since you are a stakeholder in football, it's
Mm-hmm.
good to familiarize yourself with certain things. It's not, because at least you make a background check and read certain things. But what we said was we are going to start with a playable pitch in every region. That is
Yes.
not difficult.
Maybe you are not
That is,
getting my question.
yes,
I actually read your document.
yes,
I've seen things that in your document that I like. What I'm
yes.
saying is that
Mhm.
those things are put in paper. In practice, how are you going to be able to implement that? That's what my question is driving at.
If you look at the amount of money that is spent on travels,
Mm-hmm.
it can be used to develop a standard playable pitch. I'm not telling you a stadium. And when you build a standard playable pitch, you should be able to generate revenue and attract sponsors. Now, for you to be able to attract sponsors, the playable field needs to be well presented so it looks good on TV, so you can put it on TV and then you can attract viewers to be able to partner with you. There are certain funds that are available to you. FIFA gives you $1 million every year for operational cost. Rather than overstaffing, you should be able to cut costs on certain things in terms of travel. If you're going to reduce the allowances or reduce the travels to save a certain amount of money, you can do a grass pitch that the players can play from for a start. Because from what I understand now, GFF is in debt of over $60 million. That will be a mountain to climb
How?
for you to be able to come out of that debt. But you have the infrastructure at the football hotel. How much money is the football hotel generating that is bringing income back to the federation? What business models? Because we have a business model. Last time I came out with my starting 11, they said I stole their ideas. So there are certain things you keep them to your chest. But what I can tell you is we should be able to do a standard playable field for the first year. A standard playable field for the first year. And then you should be able to enter into a public-private partnership with certain individuals that can do you a stadium. I spoke to some companies that are here in Turkey and things like that, where you can have a good business model. You can have a good business model with a good payment plan. Even with FIFA, when you go and explain to them that don't give us the funds, pay to the contractors directly, they'll be able to do that, like a turnkey project. But if the monies are coming into your account, FIFA, the money is just there. It's your money. You have access to it. But if it comes to your account and you have debts, and there's a contractor who has done this, hasn't delivered, you haven't done anything to recover your monies will go there. So one, you should be able to do a playable pitch in every region and then get a good business model where you are able to partner with institutions that will be ready to invest for you to be able to do that. You have the bank. If you take a loan from the bank and you invest it in an infrastructure where you're going to generate revenue, that you can repay the loan, it works for you. So for us, we believe we can start with the standard playable pitch. We don't know how much the loan has gone to now, but I can assure you that just from the travels, you can save a substantial amount that can do you that can do you playable pitches. And then there are partners that you can work with. From the funds you're getting, you can get an agreement with FIFA where you can have the funds spent directly to the contractors who are coming to do these pitches, because FIFA, it is not in their interest for them to just block the money. You have 400,000 that comes from CAF, aside from what comes from FIFA. You should be able to use that as well, because CAF also gives you money. So all those little monies, 400,000, can do at least 2 playable pitches and a wall somewhere in NBR and somewhere in URR, at least for a start, whilst you do the stadium. Then if people understand what you're doing and you're accountable to them, people can start following you, they can start buying replica jerseys, they can start sponsoring or partnering with you. If Wave and them are partnering with Nawetan centers, why aren't they partnering with the federation?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. I think let me allow my colleagues to come in now. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Al, back to you.
Yes, I'm listening.
Seni is muted. Yeah. Okay, go on, Seni. You
Yeah,
still on
hello.
mute.
Sadibu, how are you? Yeah, it's an interesting program. Yeah, for me, my area that I want to ask question is you were saying a very good projects, and I'm very glad to hear those projects. And I have worked with you many years, and I have known your competence. I have known what you can do. I have no doubt about it. And the first thing that I will commend you for is you are a youth, and you are bold enough to challenge what you feel like is not right, and you want to make it right. And I think if you have that kind of candidates in Africa, in Gambian football, might be very good to have a lot of people contesting for the program so that the idea can be sold to people. But for me, I was in the system like you before. And I know most of the time one of the important issues that many are not asking questions is the organization itself. The people who are working in the organization with the performance of competency. Competency is something that football also lacks when it comes to individual. We have many staff who are working, but how do you think if you take those positions? Because you are alone, yes, as a president, if you're elected, but you have a team. And how
Yeah.
will you also make sure the team that are with you will have a competent team, not only as an executive, but also as staff? How will you structure those? Because these are really strategic thinking planning. And how those strategies will be implemented. I know you cannot answer all, but what are some of the top key five things that you need to see and how you will structure? Because, for instance, I'll give my question in connection to Gambia. When Yahya Jammeh left, he left the country, but the system still now is in the country and it's getting back to worse. Because why?
Mhm.
Because the transition was not good. There were people who are back in there based on what maybe, okay, he's my guy or I have to bring. But what are the things that you really need to make sure you have to ensure it? I know football politics is different when it comes to development. It's far ahead different, but it connects because you have to do politics to win. You have to do politics to secure certain things. So what are those things, most especially when it comes to the organizational structure? What are your
Thank you,
plans?
Stacey.
With
Thank
that?
you. Thank you. Thank you. Like you said, you and I worked together. You remember the first retreat we had? You even made a presentation. You remember? I'm sure you were there. And those steps were all geared towards us coming up with a strategic plan. In even the capacity building programs that I do, I tell all the clubs, if you have your vision and your mission, you have to have a strategic plan. Your strategic plan is you go in there, you already have some ideas already what you want to do. Because we said team restore. When you go in, you do a situational analysis. Obviously, there are things that you will start from, but you have to do a situational analysis as to where are we in terms of women's football, grassroots football, um, coaches, administrators, referees, income generation, community engagement. You do an analysis. You mind map on a scale to 10, where are we? Sit with your executive and sit with the implementers. That is what you do. You're able to have a strategic plan. Where are we? Now, where do we want to be? This is the manifesto that we've provided to the people. How do we get there? Women's football, for instance, is struggling. When the COVID money came, we agreed, or FIFA said they wanted women's football to change for better. But has it changed? No. There are funds that are available from FIFA just for women's football development. Maybe the federation, people just talk about the forward, but you and I know that there's a separate fund that you can tap to use that to develop women's football. I've said this, they shouldn't be playing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You have funds that you should be able to build the capacity of the women's football clubs, from the presidents to the general secretaries to the coaches to the administrators to the medics to team managers, every individual, so everybody understands. Because one thing to run a club doesn't run a club. You have to have a structure there that will make sure this works. So where are we? Where do we want to be? How do we get there? And who is going to monitor and evaluate? Because if you do not have a strategic plan, then you're just operating anyhow. We have a plan for youth football. Who is going to be responsible for what? The federation said maybe certain vice president was responsible for the, or that vice president was responsible for that. But who's doing that? But we are saying anybody who's responsible for something would be accountable. You have to come to the people and tell us what you do. I don't know when was the last time they did a retreat, but for us, we're going to have a monitoring and evaluation unit and an inspectorate department that is going to ensure all these things work. You need to make sure every department is functioning properly. Invest in the grassroots football, invest in women's football, and get the league separated from the federation. Create a league management body where the clubs themselves are going to be the ones running the league, and then they can register it as a business. Because they are a business, when they have their funds, they can invest in other things, buy treasury bills or make a fixed deposit or try to go into a partnership with a sponsor so they can generate more income. That way the federation would not have to worry. So you are giving them more responsibility. They feel a sense of belonging. They know they are the ones that are generating revenues from here. So swing play, this is what we get. Gate takings, this and this and this is what goes there. But if it's a federation, you get this and you say, oh no, we have a debt to pay here, we have this to pay, then the clubs don't. So you have to have a strategic document in place to ensure the infrastructure. At least you have the basics for a start. The women's football, at least you have a basis for a start. And to be able to do that, there should be a meeting where the policymakers and the implementers, everybody understands that this is the vision we are going, this is what we want.
My final question. My final question is, last time we had a discussion about clubs, presidents, owners, because it's a norm in Gambia that if you have a third division team and despite you have third division team, you qualify and then you come to the second division, third division team. And sometimes it's difficult for some of the teams to survive, even to pay their players or pay their coaches. And if we say we want to turn our league to professional, it has to come with a lot of requirements. Most firstly is the payment. And that's the most hardest part of many presidents are facing right now. But coming, if you are elected, how will you think you can structure those things? Because I feel like before coming to have a team, you need to have a certain investment in your bank to own a team. Just like now, Household Fraser is coming to the football because he's a businessman, like you yourself, doing business. So how will you encourage? How will you revamp? Because I feel like it needs a big revamp to sit, not only to have a Nawetan team having a job that will pay like 10,000 or 8,000 in a month, and you want to handle a first division team. So how will you try to revamp those things?
See, there are two sides of that. There are two approaches to that. I always say wanting to run a club is not what runs a club. Being able to run a club is what runs a club. There are so many investors. Like you said, you've seen the likes of Sol Fraser and Papa Njai buying a club. There are so many other investors, the Mohammed Jazz, the Tafs, and other businessmen that are here that can buy clubs. The likes of, I mean, imagine if Gamtel can own a team and because of finances, the team was sold, then you know something is fundamentally wrong. Now, you should be able to have a business model. I've said it, most of the clubs here are registered as charities. And because they are registered as charities, they're unable to conduct business. You have to capacitize these people to understand that they have to come with a business model to be able to run their clubs. Even if in our capacity building programs, we've told them, all these clubs are registered as a charity. They should be able to register this, a certain entity that will be the business aspect of the club, that will be able to generate revenue. And for sustainability, you should be able to look at other income generating activities. The professional side is to ensure that the criteria that are set out are met. But for the club to sustain themselves, how many clubs are doing replica jersey sales here? Merchandise jersey, how many clubs are doing merchandising? No. How many clubs are getting revenue from gate takings? How many clubs are getting revenue from sponsors? Because even the approach of these clubs is in such a way that they talk to someone, they say, we're looking for sponsorship or we're looking for donation, sometimes a letter. But why can't you use your platform to be able to tell a sponsor that this is what I can offer in return? To be on my sleeve or to be on top of my shirt chest. But because you do not have the expertise, we have people who are experts. I told you, I said it here that we contacted one person to write us a business model at the time. You should be able to have, because all the clubs are going to be helped in a capacity building program where they will learn how to institute a business model in their clubs. If the federation will have to support them in such a way that you're going to start by getting jerseys for each of the clubs to start selling replica jerseys and generating the revenues from there, that they, they can account for it. They start from there. The communities are engaged. So if there's a business model, then the people will understand that this is how these clubs are going to generate. But unless and until these clubs don't have a business model, it's difficult. And how do you do that? You have to build their capacity. For the professional side is the club licensing, the infrastructure, the legal, the sporting, admin, and finance. Because even to become a professional club in CAF, you have to submit your bank account to show them that's what you do. But clubs here will tell you, no, hanga, the secret la, swing account, see, they're private, we cannot show you. But at CAF level, you have to show them to understand that this is how you run your club. So to professionalize that as well, you have to meet government. And government has to see some of the strides that you've made, some of the steps you've taken, to say what we're going to do. We want to systematically and gradually transform all the clubs. And you set a criteria that clubs must meet A, B, C, D, not the criteria CAF has set, because you have the international licensing and then you have the domestic. You set your domestic licenses and say, this is the criteria that we are asking from clubs based on the assessment that we've made. Clubs should be able to at least pay 1,500 or 2,500, depending on what is the government requirement for a basic salary. So every club would do that. An investor will realize that, okay, this is not just something that people just come and play and go. I can invest money here, they can sell players, and I can get my returns back. But unless and until they see it as clubs, a club might even come to a businessman and knock the door to partner, and they'll be like, well, because they think they're coming for sponsorship. Because if a club is struggling even to get balls, they need to look at what they are doing. Sometimes certain people will come and meet me and say, yes, dañ bëggoon nga dimbale ñu balls, or dañ bëggoon. I ask them, ñaata nit moo fa nekk si yéen ñun 10 ku nekk su tegee 100 loolu du nekk 1000. You can at least buy a ball and tell me ne this is what we are doing. We were able to raise this. We want you to partner with us to be able to achieve this, and then you can get this in return. But those things are lacking. So clubs see no amount the business know-how to be able to run the clubs. You have a few people who have that understanding, but they rather now 1 or 2, 3 clubs you run club. No. But clubs yep then wanna turn to a business and change from a charity then constitution, chemo secretary be. Yes, you can have all those things, but there has to be a business model. Somebody asked me that question in Basi and said, Mom, charity club like Ame, how do they change? So, charity bisa munna create business be, because even NGOs like UN and you have sustainability plans. So you can have that charity bo hamne moy jox back to the community. Why ngeen am a business? So that way when you're giving the community, so len ine replica jazz di ko jaay community nañ ne ñi last time ñoo ne ñu digal ñu fi bogol ñom ñoy jaay jazz. Nañ leen jënd seen jazz bi dañoo support guy, because the clubs have to be trained to engage the community. Parce que so ine jazz guy dañ la ñaan jazz. So su ma gisee jotee dañoo ñëw si team ñu la ñaan ticket. But xoolal nawetaan yi nit yi ñoo ne dugal seen xaalis. So if the business model is working for the nawetaan, why is it not working for the federation? So it's the mindset, it's the approach. A business model that your institute, and make sure the clubs have a criteria that they have to meet. So some meet we give you a full license. If you meet half, we give you a provisional license and encourage you to meet some of it. So in clubs, you soon get a business in a fee what na promote for small.
Yeah, just yeah, they can send in their request. A lot of people are listening and all that. Sorry, allow me to quote you, please. The family of you, if you were the federation president, you will provide justice for the club. I stand to be corrected. Did you just say that?
No, I don't say we will. I said you can provide, you can meet jersey manufacturers, because that's
But
I
how are you
cannot
gonna
just
get
sit
that
down and
money?
say,
And secondly, you did mention about if you were to get a pitch. All right, you spoke with certain investors or potential companies with regards to getting a pitch for a potential public-private partnership. If you
Yes.
were to go on a public-private partnership today, let's say Sadibu
Mm-hmm.
Kamaso is the next GFF president, and you have to go into a public-private partnership. What are you gonna
Yeah.
go on? What will the triple P be on? What will it be based on? Because obviously, some are based on build, operate, transfer, or some are build because you have different approaches when it comes to PPP.
Of course. Of
Yes.
course.
So
You've seen
what
where
right now?
certain
Okay, let's say
companies can
Sadibu.
build an infrastructure for you, and the revenue that is being generated, some goes to them, and a certain portion goes to you for sustainability. And after some period of time, they're able to get their money and they allow you to own your infrastructure.
But
Those things
the
happen.
federation doesn't have the land. And how about the people within the community? Are they not going to get anything
It's
from it?
That's what it's a private, it's a partnership where the community that you cannot make that decision here, but you have people who are ready. I can tell you for free. When I was buying, maybe people will think it was just I didn't want to say it at the time, people will think it was a campaign promise. I had a company, an Italian company that had contacted me and said if he had won that elections, they're able to come and provide jerseys. I still have the samples in my house for 2 years for all because they wanted their jerseys to be their brand to be known. They can provide for the senior team and they can provide replica jerseys. Now, where they make their money is from the replica jerseys that we're going to sell. A certain percent goes to them, and a certain percent goes back to the federation. So basically, the federation is actually investing very minimal. You have companies that are willing to do that. And in a public-private partnership, if for instance you have a land in Gunjur that is available, because this thing, when you're doing it, government obviously has to play a part. But wherever the land is, government can allocate you a plot of land. So if you government allocates you a plot of land and you have a company that wants to come and invest, I'm sure you know about these funds that generate revenue to be able to raise investment funds. You're going to agree with the community. Like I said, community engagement is key now. You
That's the
agree with
what
the
I wanted to
community.
hear. No, that's the exact what I wanted to hear from you. If you were to be
Community
president.
engagement.
Yeah.
I've said that from the beginning. Community engagement is the next big thing. Community engagement is the key. Because when my former club, when we wanted to have a plot of land in Kabakel, we engaged the community and said, this is what we're going to provide. We can get the land for this, and this is what you benefit, this is what we benefit, and everybody's happy. So if you're getting a land from any place, you imagine if the revenues are being generated, obviously they'll agree. If they're going to sell the land to you directly, fine. If they're going to allocate, a place like Puntaya had a big, massive, there is a massive land that they have given to the federation, for instance. So if you're able to build an infrastructure there and a certain amount is able to go to them, they'll be happy. And whoever's investing is not just going to come and invest and go away. They will obviously want to have something in return. But you have to have something that the people can see and believe in. And they have to see that you are accountable to your people and the people are okay with what you're doing. So for the people also to be able to believe in you, you need to make your books available to them and tell them this is how much money comes, this has arrived, this is what we
All right.
collect, and this is
Yeah. We have here the transfer and then Baba Demba.
yeah.
jërëjëf Mr Sadibou ñu ngi laa jaajëfal
Yes, sir.
ñu ngi laa jaajëfal
Jërëjëf waay.
waaw si teewaay man de mun naa ne man suma wàll seetal naa si sa responsibility I think you've done a good job. I just have a few questions. I have a few questions basically. When I maybe it's a yes or no response. That would be on accountability. The other two, when maybe would be on the responsibility. Follow up on it. Then the other one, that one on revenue generation. I'll start with the accountability because the most of them, let's say this current administration, there are a lot of accountability questions. And some of them still not something that you should let slide. Let's say now when you come as a head of executive or the head of GF, especially would you go back to hold people accountable with money that have projects and projects, speeches accruing. Would you also look, other malpractices that have happened, either financially or misconduct? Would you look into these things, put it right? Because I still feel that contractors that have done what they've done to miss money. They should be put to court.
That's what I don't think it's something that should be let slide because if you're going to do things right, this thing will happen. So you do that. You come in.
I've said this times without no money. Man, we don't find if any contractor then could job perform, we have to take it because contract balance could sign the part of breach of contract. You so me to take some part and the mom didn't jail action, mom time is to take part. Because Alice be do some boss for me to say the one go buy. It is public funds.
Yeah.
To understand that. So speaking leader and then unless there's a body government here, funds he won't qualify. I believe those people should be able to answer and explain as to what happened. But like I said, if you spend so much of your time focusing on that, there's a lot, there'll be a body obviously that will look into those things because you cannot solve certain problems without knowing the problem. So to be able to deal with those issues, you have to understand how, where, because he who alleges must prove. How, where, the funds forms you know. If a contractor was giving 1 million or 2 million or 3 million, deliver, then you have 3 million. Because people are saying, but you hard for them to be able to release some more funds. So, you have to be accountable to the stakeholders and the general public for you to be able to get funds money from the you cannot do anything for it. Somebody has to explain.
Right. So essentially, you're saying you're also in administration, and this is just hypothetical. You would, hold people accountable. You can at least look into the past doings or dealings of things, and then put it right. Because, or would you just say, okay, this has happened in the past, you know, administration, and it's gonna take a lot of our time to go back into this thing, and which in reality would do, and then they not require the resources, investment. How would you do it or not?
That's what I said. You have to make an assessment. To make any funds that are them for hand, what are them for you'll obviously find out. If funds have gone to where they are not supposed to go, they have to be brought back.
I think that's right. So the second question would be, I mean, hearing you speak right now here, in the other interviews you've given differently, I think understand how to get revenue in. So when I believe now we made a big missed opportunity, especially with the infrastructure, because through Manzara should have given the other people that would come in, let's say a second so we could move further and concentrate on other things. So let's talk about the potential when we talk about revenue. In an estimated figure, because at some point with what is coming in from FIFA, we've been quoted as over $600 billion. Lord have the number from FIFA, and that was just a certain period. It's not just from when this Kaba administration started to this point. Now, it tells us, and then and hopefully personally, it's one of the reasons why we see many people are coming in with crops because they know there's money coming in through this GFF. Then when you look at the potential, revenue, how much do you need? Because how much do you think you can deliver in revenue? You understand? Because issues that need to be addressed, then it's not just money.
You cannot know how much you can bring in, sir. I don't because you can write a proposal, a business proposal of $5 million with the business. You approach after sell or Q-sell, for instance, and then you get 3 million. So you cannot say, I think I can bring in 100 million. No. What you can do is to say, you can bring in revenue. I can tell you for free that we will be able to bring in revenue because of the, accountability measures we're going to bring in, the transparency, and the business model that you're going to put in front of the potential partners. Okay. Because they have to see.
Sorry, I know even what you say here is not going to be because reality a plan. There will be actual plans about it. But you must have a plan because they are to address all the issues. You don't leave anything behind. And if I'm taking you honest on the word, it means that you want to do them. Now, in order to do them, revenue needs to do it. And you do say this revenue stream will your current capacity be? should be able to, address all these issues you're talking about. Now, but I feel like given your involvement, because you have the knowledge, I'm understanding of and more for where should we be? Understand? So given that capacity you already have, Langa folk ne mo ne from like the revenue estimate. Lo have ne so folk ne okay. I'm not one. You said if I give $1 million for administrative costs, for instance.
Operational costs, yes.
Operational costs, yes. And then I hear you saying you're going to cut costs to make the gains from no. Now,
and then that's different from the forward and the.
Well, understand. So the forward. The Wallaby. Oh, please.
Go on. Hello?
Wow. No,
sa line bi nekkul di lifin ne.
No, Ciao, ti devo la vai a
Yo sa bopp sax yaa ngi dog I can't hear you.
No, Chama Modu was
No, what Chama is saying is we had Sadi before since 9 o'clock, and then Kobuga let go. He's a family man by midnight. So Lola Chama don't want me. Punga them brothers is a final question because you cannot come up and say the same question but have something that he can remember.
Okay.
But just to answer his question, I cannot even put a figure. I cannot tell him I have to do
Yeah, absolutely.
That is nobody does that. Nobody does that. But what I can assure you is because Lima was when sustainability, man, see from Lima as a businessman, I was able to bring in certain mechanisms you have sustain. There were times you have to understand that we were in a very dire financial situation. But some of the mechanisms that I brought in was able to help us for us to sustain ourselves. So it's the sustainability mechanisms that you're going to bring in, and those things have to be done in such a way you don't have to rely on one source of income, but create another avenue where you can generate revenue.
Okay. I don't want to go against to drill further, but I do believe people do that because in the Lima I don't understand. People give estimates because
I understand it quite well, but with all due respect, nobody does that. No, I cannot tell you I can bring in 10 million.
I don't understand the capacity of the stream. Okay. Because you said, like I said, you have plans to do certain things.
Yes.
Unless you make open empty plans. You understand? Everybody know as president because expenditure happened already. You've been in the GFF before. The capacity to GFF right now. Left and right. There's management, there's here and there. Now you say so would you say that the current capacity of revenue is enough to address issues? That's one thing. If you know more at what do you say more okay.
The current revenue is not enough. And that's why I said because you have a whole list of things you want to do for the people. You have infrastructure, you have football, you have grassroots football, you have league development, you have players' welfare. You have all these things to develop and you discuss with them. You can come with a plan of 10 million and then they give you 5 million. So if you come and stay here in a leader, like you're saying, I cannot sit here and tell you we're able to bring in 1 billion. No. I'm not, but what I can assure you that we will bring in the revenue because we can talk to investors who are in the development analysis, something in return. But I cannot come up here and give you a figure of I know I can do it. The funds that are going to FIFA, we will spend it in such a way that FIFA will continue to bring in their money. Because I'm not going to be one to give people. For instance, if the infrastructure fund, the forward, but let them build the infrastructure. If there is any forward money can come across. That way we don't even have to worry.
All right, fair enough. So the last question, you want follow up there. You've said times, committees don't make the decision. Wow. Yeah, that's what you said twice. So it just because I do understand as community members, you're not just randomly, however you are brought in as a member, either coopted or elected. There's a network basis of service cost level. You come on the grounds of an expertise ticket to give and guide that you may a heavy weight in the decision that goes to that ends up being made. So if you have an involvement at a committee level, then committee don't make decision. Are you saying this to accuse yourself of responsibility of the final decision, or do you believe in it?
Maybe what you should do, sir, what you should try, the committee may make recommendations, executive committee, you decide. Finance committee, they don't name war budget, that is not the document that goes to the stakeholders. It is their recommendations that go to the executive committee. You have the executive, and then you have the standing committees. So committees, they just didn't know on the stakeholders. No, they meet. That is why you have the general secretary as general secretary, because he is the secretary in all the different committees. He has the right to sit in all these committees. So in the minutes of their meetings, exactly. So the exec can look and say, no, this we are not agree with. We can accept this, or we cannot accept this. So I'm saying like where did the operate, even at level or the committees don't make decisions. It is people can for the executive part that provide their advice. So they made their recommendation goes to executive and executive to accept or otherwise. So I'm not accusing myself. That is how the federation works.
No, I understand. I only say you're accusing yourself. I'm going to follow up a question. I'm going to pick from the different points. So what do you understand with Maui?
I understand your point. You said, did I say that to recuse myself?
How bad I just what I want to say.
But
Allow him.
So I understand committee what decision. But like I said, and you already it's a technical body. Now the problem with unless you're telling me the committee input be is what secondary is based on. Now is it because whatever goes now doesn't mean what the decision to be made on. Now if the decision is made based on the recommendation,
that's why I'm saying. I'll give you an example. There was a time. I'll give you an example. There was a time the farm came for apply certain allowance, closing agreement, who don't apply for those things. And you as the finance committee, we recommended we sent that